And your voice changed, April. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. It's my distinct pleasure. I'm Ted Glutz, the Director of Sales and Marketing for Innovative Computing Systems. And it's truly my distinct pleasure to have 8x8 join us today to talk about communications across the cloud, frankly. Um, as most of you know, I know we have a lot of current clients that have joined the call, and thank you very much for doing so, as well as some others that aren't clients yet. But as most of you know, we are a best of breed provider, MSP. So we don't take our choices lightly with regard to who we partner with. We don't claim to be a jack of all trades, but certainly we are very careful about selecting the partners that we move forward with, and 8x8 is specifically one of those partners that we feel very strongly about. We've had a very good relationship with them up to this point. We've got several implementations under our belt, and they've been great to work with. Without further ado, I'd like to turn over the meat and gravy to the 8x8 folks with Caitlin, April, and Steve.
Thank you so much, Ted. And hi, everybody. Nice to meet you. I am Caitlin. My counterpart, Steve, is down here, and April as well. I am going to just go off video so that we can reserve all the bandwidth, as I am having a little bit of a snowstorm going on. And we will kick it off right into what we are talking about today, right? So we're going to kind of take you through what 8x8 is doing to improve customer and employee experience with communications. Unable to hear sound on 2 devices. Maybe try logging out and logging back in. We'll see if that works first, and otherwise April will be able to chat you with some other ways to potentially remediate that. So first, we're going to kind of take a look at why the market is driving this need for improved communications. So 5 years, right? The digital transformation that was going to take 2 decades, that was going to take really a whole generation, received a massive jolt of acceleration, and expectations have changed, both customer expectations and really employee expectations, right? With their rapid adoption and demand for digital touch points. So one of the CIO actually of Capital One Financial said that they've seen years worth of adoption jammed into just a few months. And so this research on hybrid, organizations are really being forced and brought forward into this digital business transformation plan by at least 5 years. And so it's really involving, much quicker and requiring a very high adoption to flexible work and those responses to those digital touch points. 55, right? So what does this really all say about the market is really that the world has recognized that 55% of businesses will consolidate their UCC tools into a single suite within the next 12 to 14 months. So that really means that we're going to take these disparate tools, right, and try to transform into one platform. And really the goal of this is to improve on team productivity. You want lower costs and easier management and administration for the tools. Also, anybody feel free to interrupt with questions if something pops on your head, but we will leave time for questions after. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the advantages for you as a buyer. There are 3 main advantages with that single point of accountability, the ease of use, and that lower total cost of ownership, which really hits to that previous 55% that we just talked about, right? So for those that are still using on-premise, a movement to integrated calls, meetings, messaging, and customer experience on a single platform results in a lower total cost of ownership compared to a multi-vendor strategy by almost 56%. So along with this, there's been an 40% improvement of customer experience. So that goes to this point right here, right? Service uptime, service quality, and also a 31% increase in employee efficiency from the ease of use of the platform. And you can see here, right, by providing admin manageability and analytics across. So these three features and 3 points in the industry today are really where 8x8 wants to come in and say, how do we solve this for customers and consumers, right? And this is where we do that with XCaaS. This is really 8x8's experience communications as a service. So 8x8 by the numbers, just to give you guys a little who's who of who we are, right? We've had 35% year over year growth. We've have 2.5 million paid business users on our platform, 60,000 plus customers, 65 year over year channel driven growth. So we are invested in our partners like ICS. We are invested in making sure that our partnership with them flows down to your success when you're using our platform. One platform, so we are that single all-in-one platform from your customer experience to your employee experience. We have extremely large global coverage, and we have over 200,000 users on 8x8's voice for Microsoft Teams. So we are really dedicated to serving you guys and being the best in breed cloud-based platform for communications and customer experience. So let's get into a little bit about what this is, right? 8x8 XCaaS really eliminates those silos, and it brings together employee experience and customer experience. It integrates all of your communications requirements into a single cloud native platform. And I think that's so critical, right? We were born in the cloud. This is what we do. We thrive in this market. So some of the things that's included in what XCaaS really is. So you can kind of see, right? We have a multi-module communication platform, and platform-wide, we have a 99.999 uptime SLA. So that's across our entire platform. We have global voice services and secure video meetings, which we're using today. A messaging solution for your employees to use through their mobile, desktop, or any web browser. We also provide a complete omni-channel customer experience solution, cross-platform analytics. So that really delivers those powerful insights and reporting across all your communications platform. We have a shared integration framework. So it provides easy connectivity into different tools like Microsoft Teams, which we're going to talk about, as well as CRM systems. We also have a very extensive API library with no code and low code technology. So it makes it easy to customize any digital channels and engage with your customers. So we always like to say, really, whatever your needs are, XCaaS has a clear and easy path to whatever next for your company. At 8x8, we continually push the envelope on innovation, providing our customers with the best solution to address the rapidly evolving cloud communications market. That's why we were the only 11-time Gartner UCaaS Magic Quadrant leader and 8-time recognized in Gartner Magic Quadrant report for CCaaS. We also have one of the industry's leading patent portfolios. We have currently just over 275 patents with our technology. We have offices in 16 locations worldwide. And as I mentioned, we have about 2.5 million business users across 58,000 customers globally. And because of our ability to have a one platform, I mentioned it before, but we are the industry's only and first financially backed SLA across our platform. And that really sets a new benchmark for the industry. I also want to touch on our security and our compliances. Gives you a nice snapshot here of some of the compliances that we have from SOC 2, HIPAA, FISMA, PCI, right? Our ability to offer this is platform wide again. A lot of companies cannot have this across the board, but because of our XCaaS solutions and our one platform, we're an extremely secure solution. So I want to take the next 2 slides to highlight a little bit about what our product does. We're going to keep it high level for today, and we are really excited to show you in more detail, hopefully after this, along with Ted and his team, a more detailed demo of the solution. But 8x8 Work allows for a single pane of glass view for video meetings, voice, and chat. Some fun features of the team messaging. You're able to create public and private rooms. You have a one-click chat to video meeting with screen sharing. I use this practically every day. When I'm working, somebody will call, we'll be discussing work or something that we're particularly working on together, and I'll say, you know what, let's just take this into a meeting real quick. Let me just show you. There's one click, you jump into a video meeting. I'm able to share my screen and start to collaborate much quicker and get a resolution much quicker. It's one of my favorite features. We also integrate with over 20 chat applications, including Slack and WebEx, for example. Another really cool feature, let's say you're stuck on a call, but you need to head out, right? You need to get on the road. You want to beat traffic. You want to beat a storm, or you go to a client meeting. One of my favorite features in the mobile app is that you can transfer your call right from your phone or right from your desktop right to your phone, and vice versa. Let's say you get to your home office and now you want to switch it back. You can do that as well with just one click, and it's really a really cool feature. We have compatibility with iOS, Android, and Chrome. I did see a little message about acronyms. Feel free to interrupt me and ask for clarification on any of those. Or if you want to throw them in the chat, I'm sure Steve or April will be able to answer them as well. There are a lot of acronyms in this world, though, absolutely. I'll try to be more clear for you. Okay, so XCaaS, again, experience communications as a service. That's just what we call our platform of UC and customer experience. So we have a really wonderful and detailed customer experience offering. So understanding your customer interactions are really more critical than they ever have been. 8x8 has a complete interaction routing solution for voice and digital that will help to really optimize your customer journey. So what I mean by this is you're able to understand when your clients are calling in, their experience with your company, right? Is it a positive one? Is the call flowing properly? Is the quality well? Our system will allow you to get data and analytics around that call and that customer's experience so that you can make sure that you are improving on it or providing the best experience that you can. We also have the ability to integrate with any social media platform. So you're able to have chat bots or respond to messages that may have come through social media. So it's a really exciting time with our customer experience application and what we're able to do. So from here, I'm going to kick it over to Steve to talk about some of our experience with Microsoft Teams.
Thank you, Caitlin. So my name is Steve McCutcheon. I've been in the industry communication space for 20 plus years. I've had experience with ShoreTel, Mitel, RingCentral, and now 8x8. And what my point is a lot of things have changed really rapidly. Caitlin alluded to this not at the beginning of our presentation, how the pace of change has accelerated so fast, mainly because of COVID. It's moved the communication space, moved the needle with the communication space considerably. As you know, with your own businesses, you've probably had a lot of those challenges as incorporating your user groups and your interactions with your customers, and just to maintain business continuity. The reality is not a lot of those solutions were smooth or clean, and there were a lot of cobbled together approaches to making things work. So you see a lot of proliferation of various products out there. Microsoft Teams is one of them. You may be using that in your environment. You may have a lot of familiarity with that. I'd like to ask, before I give this brief introduction into how we approach Microsoft Teams, how many businesses on this call are currently using Microsoft Teams in some capacity? And we're going to keep it light. As Caitlin indicated, we're going to keep it pretty much high level, but we do have an approach to that, and I'll touch on that.
And you can use your emotions at the bottom, or your emojis, I should say, if you want to give the thumbs up.
All right. So there is some duplication here with the slides. We can skip past this slide. Actually, don't skip just yet. I wanted to note that there has been a change. I noticed the slide says 250,000, and Caitlin, you said 200,000. I just saw an update this morning. It's 300,000 instances where we have 8x8 being used with Teams licenses. So it's a space that's expanding because of our approach. We have a lot of success there, and we'll highlight some of those reasons. Thank you for the thumbs up on that. All right, next thing. So, here's a question. 270 million active users. Okay, that's a CIO survey that was done by Morgan Stanley not all that long ago. The proliferation of Microsoft Teams affected 54% of organizations that standardize on Microsoft Teams, or in one capacity or another exists in those business environments. And that number is growing and expanding. So we're looking at that. But we see out of these numbers of 270 million active users and 80 million Teams users that call other Teams users, a very small percentage of that, less than 5%, are actually enabled with PSTN calling, right? And that's expected to grow and expand to 20% by 2024. So you see, things are moving in a direction rather quickly there. All right. So the important thing to note here is customers use it. They're familiar with it. Administrators know how to deal with it, but they're really not getting a complete comprehensive solution that's going to benefit them probably the best way they could. And this is where we offer the ability to have that enhancement to expand that. So next slide. And you see a lot of it is that small number of users that are actually connected PSTN calling capability. It's a breakdown, as you see on this slide. It's somewhat of an eye chart. I don't expect you to know all the angles here. But Microsoft calling plans are offered as a per user license. They don't require additional services from other providers for external calling. Microsoft bundles a phone number, for example, along with a number of minutes for domestic or international plans. It's really a question of how you communicate with your business. What may be the best plan for you? What may work best for you? And there's different approaches to how we can integrate, right? The most common that offers the flexibility is really the strength is in direct routing, right? And this is a direct approach. Now, what's the benefit of that? What does that mean to a consumer like your business? Well, it means you get PSTN voice services enabled with the 8x8 XCast platform that Caitlin alluded to. And that's a communication experience. And it transcends just typical voice, but also how you communicate with your customers, how your customers communicate with you, especially if you have somewhat of a call center approach. We have capabilities there. Now, if you have any sort of an international presence, this is where it's probably going to be a benefit because we have unlimited calling in over 48 countries. We're not putting caps on it like Microsoft Teams might do. So we're enhancing what they can do without necessarily changing much in the way of end user experience or administration. You also have that native Teams dialer interface. That's something that you may already be familiar with if you're using Teams. Do you really want to learn a new tool? And most people would say no if that was the case, right? We can integrate 8x8 powered SMS, so that's messaging, secure messaging, by the way. I saw the comment on acronyms. I was in the military, so there's more acronyms in communications than there are in the military. But we have that mindset. You can still do faxing, you have call recording, and other elements that you normally wouldn't have with Teams just as standalone. Also, certain things like presence. That's where you would be able to see, other person's availabilities within your groups, and also capabilities that are going to be very important to your business: analytics and integrations. Now, there's a saying that you can't manage what you can't measure. Well, with the 8x8 tie-in to your existing Teams environment, you get analytics, you get the data, you get the ability to drill into how your business is using its communication platform. You can use that as a tool for improving customer satisfaction, or trying to drive down maybe wait times, or use it as training opportunities for maybe some of your staff that have that customer facing responsibility. And you can see, well, hey, okay, let's take a look at how this was done or that was done. We have data here, and here's a few elements of opportunity to improve change and improve that customer experience. Next slide, please. So when we talk about direct routing, it is the preferred method for PSTN connectivity. We're finding that we are selected more often than our competitors. That's a pretty significant factor, 4 times more than others. And these are some of the reasons why our customers are choosing direct routing, right? And we can simplify: supplementing an existing cloud PBX with additional collaboration functionality. So like I said, it's an enhanced experience. Merely integrating their existing solution with Teams because it meets their current needs. Accessing advanced telephony features not supported by Microsoft through direct routing providers. And also wanting to source enterprise telephony and contact center from one provider. We know that multiple contracts, multiple providers equals complexity and increased cost, right? If we were to survey, we'd probably see that the options 2, 3, and 4 listed on this slide are the key reasons why 8x8 is chosen more often than our nearest competitor. Next slide, please. Metrigy Research, another research organization we use to find out what's going on in the broader market space. They tell us that customers are moving from an on-prem based system to an integrated UC/CC solution from a single vendor. And there's reasons for this. The benefits are increasing their revenue, employee efficiency gains, improved customer ratings. Now, these percentages, it's kind of hard to throw percentages out there, but I usually say, well, if you see a double-digit percent, odds are pretty good there's some it's worthy of deeper review and analysis. So the mindset is a lot of customers we're finding are wanting a consolidated approach that will check a lot of boxes. I like to say under one hat, that's going to improve their experience for their customers, improve their experience for their employees, because that's important as well, and also improve their revenues ability, right, to allow them to be that much more competitive, right? And next slide. Another thing to mention, I think Caitlin covered it, is our standing in UCAS, the Magic Quadrant. We've been a leader for a long time and highly recognized in these areas. Now, so what is 8x8 XCaaS for Microsoft Teams? Now, we talked about what XCaaS is, that tie-in, that handshake between the employee experience and the customer experience with a lot of feature and functionality. When you look at this little wheel here, I love these little things because there's a lot going on in here. So let me try to simplify it. It's an Azure-based direct routing as a service approach, It allows complete flexibility across all aspects of your business, right? Those analytics I talked about, AI-driven analysis, which is artificial intelligence. So you have those capability of getting the data and metrics out of your communication platform. And they may not exist today in their current form, right? There'll be a little, and it's intuitive as well. It's easy to access. So the learning curve is short from an administrative perspective. A lot of application integrations. So you may bring to the table certain things that you're familiar with and using on a regular basis that you happen to like, and we get that. We are an open platform in the sense that you have an application integration that you need to do. Odds are pretty good. We can complement that and make it work. Persona-based experiences. So you have different stakeholders within your organization, your business that do different things. We have different ways of approaching that, right? So everybody can more or less use the system as they need to use it. Messaging and a secure and messaging capability, faxing, presence indication. I sort of mentioned that before. You have a variety of devices in your environment. That's something we can support. And the ability to monitor calls and coach employees. So these are all plus benefits, not to mention security, as well as a high degree of uptime. That's an important one. As a customer, you probably heard the term 5 nines before, uptime SLA. That's the amount of downtime in a calendar year that you can expect. It's a very small number when you have 5 nines. As you know, they're usually not opportune times when your system has trouble. And maybe it's I use the example, if you're a florist and it's like right before Valentine's Day when people are placing huge orders, right? That's usually when a system fails under load, right? So you want a system that has that high degree of uptime. And with Microsoft Teams all by itself, you don't necessarily get that number of nines, and they do have outages. All right, next slide, please. One of the key things when talking about it, you all have automobiles, I'd imagine. You all have a comfort level of your own vehicle and where all the controls and buttons are, and you hop right in, you know where to go. You don't have to even really look around at your instrument panel because you know where everything is by touch. It's right there, right? And that's somewhat the way it is where you have these folks that use Microsoft Teams on a day-to-day basis. They like it. They don't necessarily want the buttons rearranged, and they don't have to learn a new tool. They want simplicity. Well, keep in mind that we have that native experience, right? So we're using what they're already familiar with when we do our integration. We're just an engine behind it that enhances the experience, takes a lot further down the road, right? Whether they're using a mobile device, desktop, web client, whatever, we can do it. Especially with the contact center agent experience, it's a big plus, and it has a lot of familiarity, short learning curve, and those added benefits I've already mentioned. All right, next slide. I think we're getting close to the end here.
Yep, that is the end of our portion.
Yeah. And keep in mind, if you have, you want to do a little more explanation, we're happy to help you with that as well. And thank you.
Yes, thank you, everybody. We will open it to questions right now, and then I will kick it over to April as well to add one little final piece of something that we have for the teams.
I do have a question.
Great.
So we have 10-zig machines in the office. Is 8x8 going to go through 8x8 in AWS?
Are we going to sit on AWS? Is that what you have, AWS? And you're asking if we're going to sit on AWS?
Yeah, so there are a lot of things that don't pass through the 10-zig machines. Cameras don't, video doesn't. I just want to make sure that we're not going to have any issues with 8x8 and our 10-zigs.
I'll double check, but I don't believe so. Especially if they're going through AWS already, then we should be fine.
And then my second question is, we have terrible internet service here. Is that going to affect the phone service?
No, we have really high quality on the public internet. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I actually don't live in a area that has really great internet as well, and I'm going through a snow ice storm at the moment. And I never really have ever have issues with it.
No drop calls, nothing like that.
No,
Okay.
no, we have our reliability is across the public internet.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. What other questions? Great question. Anything else? No? Okay. April, oh, she is there. Okay.
Yes, I am still here. And I know it's a lot to take in, guys. So what we would like to do is the first 3 of you that reach out to TED and the Innovative Computer Systems team to do an 8x8 demo, that we would like to offer you a $25 Uber Eats gift card. So the first 3 that reaches out to TED and team for a demo, we will be providing that gift card for you. And just to go along with the question about connectivity, I live in a town of about 5,000 people in North Carolina, and I do not experience drop calls as well.
Are you folks able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I was having mic issues. Apologies. I just have one question to follow up on the public internet comment. Do you also, I presume, and maybe I missed this, do you support private internet connections? So if we want to have our own ISP delivered to us, and then we can use your public network as failover. I'm just concerned with a lot of jitter and voice quality when relying on a 100% cloud system. I want to try to mirror on-prem as much as possible.
I don't know the answer to that. I will have to find out for you.
Okay.
Caitlin, it looks like there was a question in the chat.
Oh, okay.
It says, does 8x8 reside on AWS and the local?
Oh, yeah. So you can, we have both public and private clouds. We use AWS, and then we also use Azure as well for our cloud platform.
I have one other question on security. So our clients are financial institutions who are very concerned about security. How does that fit in with 8x8? And do you have someone that can run to ICS and talk about security? Because I think we're getting ready to sign with 8x8, so we're just going to need to make sure that all of the security buttons are tight.
Yeah, Deborah, I can absolutely have hook us up with one of our security and compliance folks if you would like to dive deeper into those compliances. But yeah, any of the compliances that we have are, they're across the board for you, right? The only thing that can sometimes be different is when we have healthcare customers, they like us to sign a BAA for healthcare, those opportunities, which we will do. But other than that, those compliances that we have are already in place for our platform.
All right. So if someone can reach out to ICS, and we've got a whole list of security issues that need to be met, I think
Sure.
ICS has got a list of our security compliance items.
Yeah, absolutely. I can help ICS with those questions, and we can have them work with our security and compliance folks.
All right. Lovely. Thank you.
Of course.
And I can be your point person on that. I'll make the connections with Rob Meadows and so forth.
Yeah, perfect. That's great, Ted. He would be the one that he's got a good idea of all of the compliance issues that we're facing.
Got you covered, Deborah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
We have a lot of experts here. I am not the expert on everything, but I certainly will make sure that we get you connected with all those experts that we have on our team.
Yeah, I'm certainly not the expert either, so I leave it to those that are.
Absolutely, no worries. What else? All great questions. Well, if there are any other questions, or if you do want to dive deeper into some of the questions that we had today that might be a little bit more technical, I know we had the one about the private and the public internet. That is one thing. If you want to reach out to Ted and we can schedule a demo, these are things that we can explore through deeper conversations during those calls as well.
Absolutely. I look forward to hearing from you, and check with our engineering team to make sure that they are up and ready to provide those demos. So feel free to reach out if you've got any other questions, and Deborah will definitely be following up with you on the security details.
And Beverly, this recording will be provided to Ted afterwards. He can make sure that whoever would like it can have it.
We'll do it.
All right. Thanks everybody so much. It was wonderful to be brought into the ICS, team and having this conversation with all of his customers. So everyone have a great afternoon.
Yes,
Thank you everyone for taking the
Thank
time.
you very much.
Bye.